Hello and welcome to our final day thinking about prayer and petition. Let us start by praying together.
Still my heart, so that I may know that you are God.
That I may know that you create and sustain my every breath.
That you breathe the whole universe into existence every second.
That everyone, myself no less than everyone else, is your beloved.
Still my heart, that I may know that you are God.
Luke chapter 11 verses 1 to 2. One day Jesus was praying in a certain place. When he finished, one of his disciples said to him, "Lord, teach us to pray, just as John taught his disciples." He said to them, "When you pray, say, 'Father, hallowed be your name, your kingdom come.'"
Sometimes it's good to be reminded of the more miraculous ways in which God works and draws people to himself. Whether it is in a movement of God at Pentecost, during the Great Awakening, through the work of John Wesley, in Fulton Street, the Welsh Revival, or in the Hebrides, sometimes God moves in a mysterious and wonderful way. And often these movements can be traced back to a few heartfelt, persistent prayers. How do you feel about the idea of God moving in this way here, and quite unexpectedly calling many back to him? Perhaps this is something that you do pray for persistently, or maybe it's something you feel drawn to pray about now. If so, what does praying for this look like for you? Perhaps you notice some discomfort or resistance to praying in this kind of a way. What might prevent you from praying with heartfelt, persistent prayers for God to move like this? And if you feel drawn to pray more, but are aware of the obstacles that prevent this happening, name those obstacles and bring them to God now. and as you hold each of those obstacles before God, what happens? Does God say anything to you about them? Sometimes we can feel there is so much to pray for. We can have such hopes of what God can do, but feel quite unsure where to start. When we feel this way, it might help to turn to Romans 8 and let us be encouraged by these words of Paul's. As we close, listen to these words and close your time by inviting the Spirit to pray on your behalf.
Romans chapter 8, verses 26 to 28. In the same way, the Spirit helps us in our weakness. We do not know what we ought to pray for, but the Spirit Himself intercedes for us through wordless groans. And He who searches our hearts knows the mind of the Spirit, because the Spirit intercedes for God's people in accordance with the will of God. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him.
Thank you for joining us for today's prayer reflection. We hope that you find that helpful. Let us conclude now by praying together.
Lord, teach us to pray, so we might awaken to the wonder of your presence, so we might feel gratitude for your gift of life, so we might discover your kingdom as revealed in our sisters and brothers, so we might find safety beneath the shelter of your wings. Lord, teach us to pray.
Lord, teach us to pray, so we might forgive those who have wronged us, so we might lead free from pretense and hypocrisy, so we might trust your perfect plans and not replace them with our own, so we might love you with our whole hearts and love our neighbours as ourselves.
Lord, teach us to pray. Lord, teach us to pray, so the lonely and the hopeless find comfort in your abundant presence, so those in war and famine find the everlasting peace of your Spirit, so we are not indifferent to the suffering of the world around us, so our songs help to make us look more like you. Lord, teach us to pray. Amen.